Hello, hello! It's me again. You thought you were rid of me, but I came back. I'm like that cat that just won't die. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's Pip. Again, taking over Skylar's channel. Or Wheezy, whatever the fuck you want to call him. I call him dumbass half the time, but that's me. Yeah, so, read your commentary things on Skylar's YouTube page and whatnot, and this is my second, commentary, I guess. So, as you can tell, I am playing zombies. This is the Black Ops version, so there are some changes to it compared to World at War. World at War was probably the first first-person shooter that really got me kind of hooked. Like I said, a lot of it was because Sky would sit here and play video games all the damn time with our friends, and I would just sit there and be like, I want to talk to our friends, and he's like, well, if you want to talk to our friends, you should get on and play games with us. So I did. Look at that headshot. Thank you. I am growing as a person, as a shooter. This version is a little bit trickier, but I recommend definitely playing zombies first with your significant female companion, or as some of you have putting out, your little nieces, nephews, cousins, whatever. It's great because, as you can tell, they're not shooting back at you, so you're not worried about that. I mean, yeah, if they break through the windows and everything, you gotta avoid them. But that's just running. So it's a really good way to get used to the controls, and learn how to aim and shoot without feeling too much pressure. The one thing that Wheezy did when I started playing this is they would stick me at just one window, because normally there's 4 of us playing. In this map, it's myself, Wheezy, and Porkchop, who does love me. I know he loves me because I'm fucking adorable. Okay? And Skylar's full of shit. But anyway, so yeah, one of us, I would stay at one specific window. You'll see it when we go to the back room, especially. It's a lot easier to guard the window because, I mean, look at this. I'm sitting here, I'm standing pretty much perfectly still and just moving my gun back and forth and aiming. So I'm not worried about, you know, running, sprinting, reloading, all at the same time pretty much, and feeling overwhelmed because while I'm doing that, someone else is shooting at me. That's really a struggle for someone who's just starting out, is, you know, especially if you throw them into online gaming, and you're in these, you know, matches where you're just trying to figure out what the hell to do, and you're like a sitting duck, and the people realize that, and they're like, oh, let's go kill the noob. You know, and that's not fun for us. I mean, why would we want to play that if every time we try it out, we get slaughtered? You know? So yeah, this version definitely different than the World at War version. I like that one better to start out with, simply because the zombies can't reach through the windows. You know, like, when you're sitting here and you're shooting at them, you know, yeah, they're tearing down the little boards and whatnot, but they're not reaching in really to kill you while you're fixing them. And that's nice because at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, you know what, maybe I have to reload and there's a zombie at the window. I can repair the wall. He can't get in there. And I'm not stressed. I'm not panicking. You know what I mean? Whereas in this version, it's like, okay, I gotta make sure that if there is a zombie there and I'm trying to rebuild it, that he can't reach in. One of the strategies that we play, or that we use when we do play, especially on like the other maps, is that I will stand at a specific window, whether it is the, oh hell, I am horrible at names. If it's rather like the one where there's that huge open courtyard in the middle, you guys have seen Wheezy's videos. See, this is Porkchop shooting over my shoulder. Don't appreciate that. This is my window. But anyway, I would stand at the window and I would shoot the zombies and, you know, like rebuild, try to keep one alive. Well, the problem with this version is that they're reaching through and they're attacking you at the same time, so it makes it more challenging. But like I said, it's a really good way to get them used to these controls because you're not running around all the time. I mean, yeah, here I am, but there's 3 of us. I mean, if you play with 4 people, have the weakest person stay at one window, it makes things a lot easier. And they get the practice of, you know, bringing up their sights, aiming and shooting, reloading, rebuilding. So doing multiple things on the controller, but not having to deal with the running yet. And not having to deal with the, you know, dodging other bullets and whatnot. So that's always helpful. Yeah. Look at my headshots. See, I have definitely improved. Yeah. One of the things that was on Skylar's posts and all this other stuff was how we actually met. So I guess I can address that. Yeah, so we actually went to the same college. We actually went to the same high school, but we had a really large graduating class, and we didn't know each other. We actually had the same teachers and everything, same classes. We just were not in the same section. So, like, it was kind of just weird how it worked out that way. I mean, the only difference is probably our math classes. Skylar's a little bit better at math than I am. The jerk. But, yeah, so we went off to college. I was seeing someone else at the time, and I was hanging out with him on his floor and, you know, in his room. And the weird thing about it is we both went to Oklahoma State, and that's a pretty big university. And for some and on the floor that they lived in Kerr Drummond, which Kerr was the guy's side, on the 9th floor, and there was 22 rooms. Each room could fit 2 people in there. So that's 44 people. Out of the 44 people on that floor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys on that floor came from Enid, Oklahoma. I mean, what are the chances of that? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, alright. But anyway, so I'm hanging out with my boyfriend at the time in his room, and I had brought my friend Amber with me, and Skylar came down to see who all was there, and, you know, it just kind of went from there. But the one thing that people really crack up about with Skylar and I is we hated each other a lot. We did not mesh well. It was like, you know how people talk about instant chemistry and realizing that that's their soulmate and whatnot? That did not happen for us. It was one of those, I don't even remember what started it, but I remember thinking Skylar was the most arrogant and cocky son of a bitch I have ever met. Though he'll argue and say that he's confident, which, you know, he is confident. I'll give him that. But he can come off as a son of a bitch. I mean, you guys have heard him. You know what I'm talking about. And of course, he thought I was the same way. I believe one of his terms was that I could be kind of a bitch. And yes, I can be. I know I can be, because, you know, that's how I am. But yeah, so it just, we hung out with the same people, the same friends. We never really, I mean, we were somewhat cordial to each other, but we just, you never find us alone. You know what I mean? Like, there was a couple people that we hung out with that it's like, oh, hey, I'm hungry, you want to go grab lunch, you know, and I would always call them first before I would call Skylar to see if he was hungry. I actually never called or texted Skylar, now that I think about it. And then one day in our sophomore year of college, I don't know what happened. I remember I needed a ride back to Enid because my car was in the shop. And Skylar gave me a ride, because, I mean, he was one of the few people that had a car that, you know, had the time to take me during this time frame. And I asked him for a ride, and he took me, and, you know, we just kind of started talking and realizing that, oh, okay, he's not so bad. You know, and little things like that, it kind of, we started to, I guess, talk more and realize that we actually had stuff in common and had the same viewpoints. And so it just kind of progressed from there. And then our sophomore year, one day I was on Instant Messenger and Skylar was online, and we just started talking through AIM. And yeah, it kind of went from there, and we had a phone call, and then we started actually, you know, meeting. At this time I had just broken up. Well, I had been broken up with my boyfriend at that time for a while, but he just wasn't ready to move on. It's kind of a touchy subject. But so we kept it a secret from everybody that we were talking and that we were kind of dating, because Skylar and I, according to one of our friends, were kind of like the key members of the group, whereas Skylar, all the boys were like really loyal to him, and I had the girls. So if he and I got together and then broke up, the group would in essence fall apart, according to them. But yeah, so we kept it a secret for about 6 months, and then yeah, it just kind of blossomed from there, and now we, you know, dated for a year, got engaged for a year, got married, and been married for 6 years, and have 2 kids, which is just asinine in my opinion. Like, I can't believe it. It's one of those moments where you're like, holy crap. Yeah. And of course our friends were total douchebags when they thought they knew that we were dating. I remember one time we were hanging out in one of the dorms that Skylar was staying at during the summer, and our friends Brandon and Mike were trying to be D-bags, and they came over and knocked on the door, and of course I went and hid in the closet with spiders, by the way, which I hate, and they knew I was in the closet. They knew I was in there, and they just kept talking to Skylar about random shit, and Skylar's trying to get them to go away, but they wouldn't. No, they were just, you know, kind of like, what the hell? And yeah, so that's how we kind of got together. There's lots of other interesting stories in there, like the oh shit, it is almost summer story, which Skylar can explain to you because he enjoys that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else y'all want to know. But yeah, again, back to this game. So this, like I said, Zombies is one where it really helps to learn to point and shoot, again, because they're not shooting back at you. The other one you could do, like I said in the last video, is Halo, or even Call of Duty. If you do a private match, you know, and it's just you and the other person, where she can sit here and shoot at you, and you, I mean, maybe at first don't shoot back at her, you know, or if you do shoot back at her, like intentionally miss, so she can just get the practice and get the feel of it, and then start shooting at her for realsies. You just gotta give us time, you know, like I said before, proud creatures right here, you know. Our gender is, you know, fierce, and we're not used to being the babies of the group. We don't like it. Oh, this is where it all falls apart. But yeah, just keep that in mind. So I would start off with doing a game like this and go from there, and next time I will show you guys objective games and all that stuff. So yeah, any questions, comments, let me know.